Hey everybody, and hope everyone's doing well. And thank you for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Most definitely. And again, I love the conversations and the comments, and just learning and sharing this kind of stuff. I think it's great. So thank you so much. Now, for this video in particular, real quick, one thing about my channel, what I'm trying to do with it is bring together a sense of clarity and integrity in the field of spiritual knowledge and existential knowledge. Like, why are we here? What happens when we die? What is all this? How does it work? And a great bridge for that is to be able to communicate, I think, with those who are in the afterlife, and to get information from over there too, and help us kind of bridge that gap and understand everything, to make it both relatable, understandable, and bring a level of consistency to all them. There's different ideas and theories out there, but there's one underlying truth that ties it all together, and that's what I'm trying to do through this sort of thing, and have fun too, of course, and learn about a variety of topics as we move forward. But this video is a great example. So, sorry, I'm back. Okay, so this video is a great example of that. So a lot of psychics have different theories and ideas, or they hear different answers. And I've always wondered, well, why isn't there a and some of the answers do make sense and some don't. So that's what I mean by like integrity and clarity and consistency, to find the right answer, because once the truth is known, it can be applied to everything. And I think Tyler, by the way, this is a video with Larry King, and he interviews another psychic named Tyler Henry. And just to be clear here, I think he's a great guy. So, and he's the real deal. He receives messages, and he has a huge audience. And I've watched his show. I enjoy his show. And there's a few things that didn't make sense to me that I thought, did make sense in general. So I thought I wanted to bring clarity just to a couple points in this video. That's all. So just to put that out there, and it's to help, what he's doing and what I'm doing and what everybody is trying to understand and watch. Just to help learn and grow and evolve and move forward. So, the answers, and I'll explain why, kind of the process of why different answers are heard, like while we watch this video. I call it like energetic interference, and why you might hear different things when asking the same question. So I'll go into that in just a little bit, but the points that I wanted to really call out and clarify is Larry King was asking Tyler, what happens when we die? And the answer was, we don't. The answer he gets is laughter, and that it is because we are too silly to understand the magnitude of everything and how it works, and also that we can't understand the experience of what happens when we die. So I disagree, and because I think actually I know there's a truth to that. So I just wanted to help kind of clarify the answer and explain how that works a little bit. So we are able to, we can understand quite clearly, like when we're on Earth, and I'll go into this a little bit more too as we watch the video. But we can hear and see and feel, and when we talk to somebody, that sort of thing, we have senses that we can, and a vocabulary and an intelligence. So it's not beyond our comprehension. We can use words like that to understand how we communicate and understand things on Earth, and it's the same thing in the afterlife. So we will see people again that we once knew down here, and hear them when we communicate, just like we hear our own thoughts non-physically, and that sort of thing. Our souls are non-physical, so we still have the capability. That's a great example right there, to hear non-physically, just like we do physically. So, and we'll be able to hear when we get over there. So the process is able to be conceptualized and explained, and that's kind of what I wanted to discuss and bring more clarity to. So that being said, let's take a look at the video, and then we'll kind of go through it. All right, so here is the interview. Sorry, I had to make the screen a little bit smaller in order to get around or get through the copyright rules and violations and that sort of thing. So, but this allows it to go through, I guess. So, all right, so here is the video. Sorry, I had to make it a little bit smaller to get around the YouTube copyright rules and that sort of thing. So this makes it allowed to be used for like a reaction video when I do it like this. But anyway, so here's the point in the interview where it picks up. It's a really long interview. You can watch the whole thing if you want to. There's just a couple points on here that I specifically wanted to kind of talk through. So one is what happens, the concept of what happens when we die.
And to apply.
What happens when people die?
Well, it's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
I don't even have the answer to. No
well,
doubt.
You can communicate with them.
Sure.
Don't you ask where they are and what happened when they died?
Do.
What do they tell you?
It's the equivalent of human laughter. They come through and they think we are silly to try to understand something beyond our capability of reasoning and understanding. In fact, they liken it.
So, first point to kind of talk through here, when asked about these sorts of questions, what's occurring, I believe that he really did hear an answer and that sort of thing. But it wasn't the answer that was trying to break through. So what I call like energetic interference, like there could be, he could be picking up information when he's asking these questions through his own soul. But it's a database. It has a ton of knowledge in there, and it's fluid, so it can really start to emanate, give off information during channeling or when you're trying to have conversations with people in the afterlife. And if there's pictures around, pictures also retain your soul in every picture, believe it or not. Everything's captured. So all this information, anything around you, things can carry data in them around you and also interfere with this conversation. And I've experienced this before, so when I try to have conversations with, when I'm trying to communicate with either angels or spiritual guides or people in the afterlife, all kinds of interference can come up. So it takes practice and focus, and I've experienced this sort of thing. And it could be any number of reasons that he heard that sort of thing. Like maybe, like you notice, like for example, he smiles a lot, or he laughs a lot. It's just like a natural process for him, while he's communicating with people. So this could have been like coming through him, and this is what he was hearing. Was laughter, because that's what he's used to, or smiling. This positive energy was being reflected back to him, or he's hearing it kind of escape his soul. It's just like a computer kind of giving off waves of information, depending on who you're talking to and what you're talking about. And sometimes it can be random and may not be relevant to the conversation. But either way, the point there is energetic interference can absolutely get in your way when you're asking questions like this. So, any questions? Any questions? So.
If we were to take a cockroach, we had a cockroach right here. And we had this cockroach, and I had to explain arithmetic to that cockroach. That cockroach would not have the means of understanding arithmetic, right? We as human beings, with our brain and our limited perception and understanding of things, I think are not able to understand the magnitude of the universe. I think.
Okay. Actually, we'll let him finish the point.
Anyone who sits across from someone and says, I have an answer. I have an answer to the universe. I have an answer to what happens. I don't think there is an answer.
So I like the answer. Okay, so so basically, it's so funny because I'm just remembering in the past, because I was watching this video with everyone. I watched this kind of stuff with all sorts of people from the afterlife, always with my spiritual guides as well. And I told okay, so just real quick on a funny side note, so when he asked, what happens when we die, he heard laughter, and they said, well, you guys, you're like cockroaches, cockroaches with a calculator. I'm sorry, that's just so funny. I told the angels, like Michael the Archangel, I was like, if you ever laugh at me when I ask you something that serious, and if you ever call me, if you're like, look, Jerry, you're just a stupid cockroach with a calculator, I said, I will fight you. I will totally, I will fight you guys. Don't you ever laugh if I ask you something that serious. And we actually did. It was meant in good humor. I did too when we had that conversation, because just to let you know, if you ask anybody in the afterlife, there's very serious communication protocols in place for this sort of thing. Unless you're joking around, of course, but especially if you're talking to an angel or any spirit. If you ask them something like a serious question like that, they're not going to laugh at you and call you a cockroach. So, point is, there is an answer. And I think what he was hearing was energetic interference. I just thought it was a really funny answer, and we got a good laugh. I got a good laugh out of that, but all in good fun. I understand the experience, and I hear weird, random, and sometimes answers that don't make sense, and that's why I try to figure stuff out and then ask questions multiple times to make sure I'm hearing the right answer after several attempts, and especially if the answer doesn't make sense to me. Then I'll just revisit it until I kind of hear the answer break through or hear more confirmations towards, I'll ask a lot of questions and listen for a yes or no answer, that sort of thing. So, okay, let's watch some more.
Answer for human beings. I think we are so limited in our perceptions.
But if someone's communicating
Sure.
with you, it's logical as a curious individual to ask, when you died,
Yeah.
what happened?
Absolutely.
Why can't you tell me that?
Because it's not a physical place. Because we use points of reference to
How do they talk to you?
physicality. They
If it's
communicate through impressions in the same way that a deaf person uses sign language to communicate when they no longer have the ability to hear. They use symbolism as a means of connecting and relaying information. What I have found, I've done over
So there's a little bit of truth in here, and I think it's important. This is why I'm doing these videos, is to help bring clarity to these sorts of things, and why people get multiple answers, and I'm seeking integrity through consistency and simple truth. So that's why you hear different psychics and they may touch on certain things or hear different answers, and that's part of the reason why is energetic interference. Your own beliefs can even kind of exude or emanate out into the air and escape you while you're having conversations, because this is the information that's being active or at the front of your energy while you're having these communications. So your own ideas could start to be heard in the air, and you're like, oh, okay, I thought it works like that, or I didn't think it works like that. So your own information, you could be hearing your own soul without even realizing it, because this information can really just start to run together inside your head and outside your head, and it's a very real part of the process. So that, and I wanted to point out too, so the reason, because Larry King was asking, well, what, why can't you tell me what happens? And he said, because it's not a physical place, and they communicate through impressions. So the one truth in there is, yes, it is not a physical place. And impressions is one way that psychics communicate. It's and there's really, you could communicate through impressions and pictures and that sort of thing, or you could practice through just hearing words. It's really up to you how you want to develop these skills, visually or audibly. And it's really just like having a conversation. So as you develop the skills, which I'm getting better at, I'm no expert at all, but I'm definitely getting better at it. So rather than just showing images and that sort of thing, I ask for words. Just talk to me like a normal out loud conversation, and I'll ask you something and just please respond and that sort of thing. And then that way I don't have to piece it together as much. Sometimes I do, but I always use words instead of symbols just to try to piece together the conversation. So there is, because Tyler was also saying, we have limited brains, and like cockroaches cannot understand arithmetic. Human beings are incapable of understanding the experience when we die, because it's beyond us, which is not true, actually. So, and that really didn't make sense to me, because we can understand it. We have the vocabulary and the intelligence and the knowledge to be able to experience and conceptualize this planet, this reality. We hear, see, feel, taste, and what's the other one? There's like 5. There's 5 senses, and we are able to understand basic experience. And I saw a lot of comments in the video too saying, well, yeah, it's beyond our understanding, that sort of thing. But it's really not, actually, because if you think about it, when we die, we will wake back up, and we will see our loved ones, and we will hear them again, and we will be able to shake hands, and we will have the same experience. So that's if you try to draw a direct equivalency between our experience here and over there, which is very valid, because if you think about it, we see and talk and shake hands and feel emotions and everything down here, and then when we meet people in the afterlife, same thing. So it's nothing that can't be understood with simple terms. We'll be immortal, and the afterlife is a beautiful place where everything is perfect and all things are possible, which can also be, conveyed through words. So I think the cockroach, it's one of my favorite things I've heard. I think it's great. I think it's a false equivalency. So cockroaches trying to understand arithmetic is, which they can't, but we can. We have the ability to understand things that they can't. And at a basic level, we will still hear and see and feel emotions and speak with our loved ones like we did down here. We'll just be made of non-physical energy instead of physical energy, plain and simple. Just like our thoughts and our souls our memories are made of non-physical energy, and we can experience, past visions, past words, past feelings, that sort of thing that are stored in our mind. It's the same idea. So we can see visually, non-physically. We can hear audibly, non-physically. We do it when we remember, when we dream, or when we recall things through memory. So these sorts of experiences can be described and understood. Okay, so there it is, and there's the video. And there are those points that I wanted to just kind of talk through and be able to explain a little bit more. And again, just to state, kind of like I said at the beginning, I think Tyler's a great person, and he does have the ability to communicate. And just like I've experienced too, it's difficult. It's not always clear and consistent. And there's reasons for that, kind of like I was pointing out. So it's not to call anything out or anything like that. He's great at what he does. And like I said, I've seen the show and I really like it. So, but sometimes when certain things come up, I think they need a little bit more clarity so we can all be on the same page and understand, why do psychics hear that and hear different things? And especially when there's an answer or an underlying truth that is there just waiting to be heard and explained and kind of analyzed. And once we do that, we can help strengthen and continue to grow this body of knowledge. And I think it's a great thing to do. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate it as well. Any ideas or comments or feedbacks, comments or feedback, please feel free to leave them. And again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do. I welcome you to do that. And if you like the videos, definitely give it a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again.